All right, guys. So there's been a lot of controversy over this White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, and we're going to get into all of that today because I'm going to break down this video that the White House released, and I'm going to prove to you point by point that this was either AI enhanced or just all out AI. It also dispels their own narrative that he was carrying a shotgun, and in my opinion, they 100% released this super grainy version of this because that way you wouldn't be able to see the details. But AI is just too good, guys. So we can degrain and clean up and get clarity off of this nowadays. Just anybody can do this. And so we have two shots here. This is the original they released, and this is the AI enhanced version of it. As you can see, it is CapCut AI here. So we're going to go through the AI version because I've gone through the entire original grainy version, and all of the AI artifacts are in the grainy version that was originally released, as well as the enhanced version. So it's clearer to see what I'm talking about on the AI enhanced version of what's happening here. But I want to show you this anyway. Let's get going. So here you can see that in this cleaned up version, it appears as though he is carrying a sign here. You guys can see that right there. He is carrying a sign as he comes around, but I want you to pay close attention here because there's something weird going on when you come back up here to this original version. You have three officers standing here, and then there's a guy down here on his knees, a guy down here on his knees, and a guy down here on his knees. That to me tells me that this is AI because there's no reason why these guys would be on their knees, okay? But in the AI version here, you can kind of see this guy's actually looks like he's kind of laying down a little bit. This guy's clearly down on his knees doing something. This guy's got his back turned, which may just be the AI interpreting that. But let's look at the original here real quick. So you can see in the original, that's a person. He moves. Now comes the assailant, and these three guys are still laying on all fours. They're down on their knees for some reason. That just doesn't make sense. Go to the AI enhanced version here. You can see now this could just be the AI enhanced version making an artifact here, where it looks like he's carrying a sign or something. The sign then disappears. But you can clearly see there's no shotgun in his hand there. So let's look in the original and see if we can determine a shotgun. Now, it does kind of look like there might be a long gun in his hand there. It's really, really difficult to tell. It looks like maybe you can see a hand here and a hand here. That's a common carry method. So one hand high, one hand low as the barrel is pointed towards the ground. But they said that he fired a shot and shot a Secret Service agent in this video in the chest. But we don't actually see that. And we have audio here and there's no sound of a shot.
It looks like he checked it twice.
Lieutenant Hudson, you monitoring this area?
So he comes through. It doesn't look like there's no shot fired here, if that is in fact a shotgun. But then it kind of morphs and you can't really tell anymore. One thing you can see here is this guy has a hat on, and then the hat suddenly just disappears. And now he doesn't have a hat on. And the AI enhanced version of that, you can see that a little bit more. So here he's got the hat on. And then the hat disappears and now he no longer has a hat. Okay. Now here's the other thing that's super sus about this. Why is a very expensive hotel that is hosting the President of the United States security cameras look like they were put in 1956? This is what the security cameras should look like on an everyday normal day. It should be at least in 1080p, if not 2K or 4K. And this is what they released. And that to me is extremely suspect. I'm just not buying that these cameras are that old that they can't put out a crystal clear version of what's going on, especially when you have the president in the building. Now, let's get into some really strange artifacts that happen in this video here, because if we rewind, we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 officers here as the assailant comes running through. And then you have this guy, or it looks like a girl, and then this guy here. Watch what happens to this group over here. It gets really weird. And this to me looks like it may have been AI, because you go here, this guy now stands up. This guy's he was laying down. Now he's like getting up on his knees. This other guy back here morphs into another dude. Now you have one guy that comes out of nowhere. He just kind of comes over to the side here, and we'll get to the AI enhanced version. But then you have these two guys running backwards, which is really weird. And then this guy, remember there were 3 guys back here. This guy is now going to come back. He's going to grab his own shadow, which then morphs into a person, which then he like drags away. Now, maybe this is what they're saying, the officer that was shot. But then he gets up, he leaves him. This guy gets up and runs off. Okay, now let's look at the enhanced version here, because there's a little bit more clarity. Now, take a grain of salt that this is AI enhanced, so some of this morphing could be from the AI enhancing it. Now, here it does clearly look like he's holding a sign. That sign then morphs into a paper in his hand. It then kind of just disappears. Again, no rendering of a rifle. And here's the thing. This officer right here, she has a very clear shot. You're within 2 to 3 feet of this guy, point blank range. If he has a rifle, this dude is falling right here. He's dead. But that's not what happens. She doesn't fire. And maybe she doesn't fire because of the crossfire issue here. But too many times we've seen that this happen, where an officer panics, they pull the trigger, and a crossfire may end up hitting one of their cohorts. But again, the weird thing is, why is this guy down on his knees? Why is this dude got his back turned? And what is this dude doing laying on the floor? And then there's the whole hat situation. Again, crossfire, so she can't shoot there because now he's in the way. So this whole thing, like the way they're all positioned, is completely asinine. This should not be professionals securing a building. You have crossfire after crossfire happening here, which means you could no longer, engage the target at that point. But keep your eyes back here, because now we have this guy who's there. And he's just kind of like, I'm just going to run away. So he starts running back that way. This guy stands up. This guy stands up. Now watch these two. This guy now becomes him. This guy turns around. And what the hell is this dude doing? Still laying on the ground. Weird. Okay, now watch back here. The artifact again. Watch what happens when an officer crosses past this beam here. All of a sudden, there's the artifact again. That's an AI artifact, okay? So now you have another one. He comes back into the scene. The AI artifact happens again and is staying on this line. So that tells me that this is AI. Now, whether it's because of this AI enhancement or that's in the original footage, we don't know. But if you look back here, you have these 3 guys here. Okay? They're just chilling. No one's been shot here. Unless she shot him. If she shot him and crossfire hit this guy, they're trying to say he shot the officer. When he crosses, that officer is not shot. When he crosses the point of being able to shoot that officer, you can tell no shots fired. The officer's just fine. She pulls her gun, and now this is where he's in danger. He goes down to his knees. This guy starts to run away. And then the third guy here, he's like panicking, running around in a circle, sees his comrade down, goes over, picks him up, starts to drag him, and then just lets go of him. And then he kind of like, these two like morph. The dude disappears, completely disappears out of the scene. And now it's just this guy here. I don't know, guys, but this to me seems like some definite AI enhancement. I think that this is what the video should have really looked like. And to be honest, they did some AI to make it grainy and not be able to tell what's going on. And in my opinion, the only characters here that are real is the guy running through unarmed, this officer right here. I think that these are the only two people that are actually real besides this guy. I think this is AI. This dude's AI. These are clearly AI. Nobody would be laying down on the job. These three are just, they're put in there. They're not real. They're just NPCs. And everything else about this video is completely 100% fake. And then when you combine it with the fact that they tackled the guy instead of shooting him, he never got shot. They tackle him and then strip his clothes off of him and then handcuff him. Very weird stuff to me. What do you guys think? I'm not drawing any conclusions. I'm not putting on my tinfoil hat here, but what do you guys think about that? Drop your comments down below. Follow along for more.